Hello, this is Exorce, and today I'm going to be discussing the BM Bunker build in a guide that I'm doing. BM Bunker build is a Beastmaster Ranger with heavy condition or power, it just depends on how your build is, toughness and healing power. Currently, there is two actual builds that most people run when doing BM Bunker. I'm not going to discuss the power-based ones today because I don't actually have any cleric's armor. I've basically only ran apothecary the whole time that I've had it. When I did like the pain inverter videos and like the Nature's Ninjas videos, so I'll just be discussing the two builds that are common with the condition-based ones. As you can see, I have my trades already picked up because I was out here farming at South Sun Cove. The two main lines with BM Bunker build is Wilderness Survival and Beast Mastery. They both play on the strengths of the BM Bunker build. Wilderness Survival, of course, gives toughness and condition damage, which is pretty much the big thing for your class in terms of defense and actual damage itself. Beast Mastery gives healing, which, you know, that helps you. That's a defensive skill, and your pet's attribute bonus is actually a more offensive stat because your pet is actually your burst with this build. Unlike other classes, our pets are kind of how we do our burst, essentially. Most condition builds don't have bursts like us. The closest thing would probably be like a fear build for like a necro, maybe. Generally, if you like, if you're full condition damage, your like direct damage is just awful. We get the advantage of having our pets have their own stats, so that's actually not a problem for us. We can go full defensive with healing and conditions and rely on our pet just to beat the crap out of somebody with full direct damage. Wilderness Survival, the good thing about this line is it's probably our best talent line we have. I mean, even if you go like power based and you're going to run like a line, you're probably going to put 5 points at least in this line, but just for natural vigor. It's increased endurance regeneration by 50%, which is just absolutely stunning. Like, if you play without it, you'll instantly know how awful it is to play without this ability. So pretty much, if you run any type of power build, you're gonna put 5 points in this line. You used to put 5 points in Beast Mastery also, but that one's kind of dropped out of favor since they nerfed quickness. The first talent you actually get to pick in the Wilderness Survival is really up to you. For this particular setup that I'm running right now, I run the pets deal extra condition damage, but Soften the Fall or Shared Anguish or Vigorous Renewal are all good picks. Vigorous Renewal, if you run Healing Spring, is actually the best pick because each tick from your Healing Spring will actually give you Vigor and anyone else in the actual Healing Spring. So that's actually goes hand in hand with Healing Spring. If you use it, you use this talent. Survival skills recharge 20% faster. If you use Lightning Reflex with, say, Entangle, I would pick this actual talent because you're improving 2 skills. That's kind of how I rate talents in general. If I pick what improves the most, which has the most synergy. And in this case, if I was running, like, say, Lightning Reflexes with Entangle, Wilderness Knowledge is actually a better pick than, say, Soften the Fall, maybe, or Shared Anguish, or in this case, Expertise Training. Though, if I do go out and, like the top right-hand side of a map on, like, World vs. World, I actually do swap out to Soften the Fall just so I can drag people off a cliff with me and kill them, because most people don't run like their 50% less damage from falling buffs, which is always just funny to watch. The number 15 talent, Companion's Defense. This is kind of the reason we're so strong as a bunker build, because we dodge and then give ourselves protection. We can dodge a lot because of the number 5 talent. This works hand in hand with one another, and if you have Vigor, you can dodge even more. if you ever played a thief with like large amounts of healing power and condition damage, because I've actually run that before, they don't have like protection, so it's very noticeable. Even if you have like really good defensive stats, if you don't have protection, it's really, really painful. I think warriors don't have protection, which just kind of blows my mind actually, that warriors wouldn't have protection in their builds, but we do, and it's very, very nice. Number 20 talent, this is kind of up to you as well. If you're running 2 offhand weapons, offhand training is probably going to be your best bet. You can go something like hide and I don't really like hide and stat, but you can go into that if you really want to. Oakheart Salve I don't like because it's only 5 seconds of regeneration. It's not that great. Yeah, I wouldn't really pick that. Martial Mastery, if you use a great sword in your build, and you can, I don't really like it for condition-based builds because it only has the bleed on Maul, and Maul's kind of a pain in the butt to land anyway. So if you run sword with great sword, this would probably be better for like a power-based cleric's build than versus a apothecary build. So I would probably stick with either. Yeah, I just go with a offhand training if you're going to run it, because you're most likely, if you're running condition build, you're going to be running torch, and this just improves torch so much. It like makes a bonfire like twice the radius, which you will notice. Peak strength, you probably won't notice this a whole lot because you're going to be under 90% health a lot. I mean, I guess it's good at the opening, but we're apothecary, so I don't know how much damage it would actually increase on like our conditions. I don't even know if it increases conditions, to be honest. The number 30 talent, this is kind of up to you. If you're running Healing Spring and Signet of Renewal, you can get away with not running this. You can run Bark Skin instead, which will make you take 30% less damage when under 25% life. It's really up to you. I mean, both of those talents are really, really good. As you can see, I have skirmishing right now. This is kind of based on what kind of pets you run. If you run, say, birds, you wouldn't really go up this line because the way it works is your pets don't get the benefit on their their attack. They're like the one you select, like the F6. They won't get the benefit of this with that ability. They'll get it for their secondary abilities, like say Tail Swap. This will get the benefit, this will get the benefit, and this will get the benefit. But that won't. And if you go birds, that's kind of their big thing, is their main burst attack. Like Blinding Slash actually hits incredibly hard. Like you can easily hit 6k with this ability, and it will get the benefit. It won't get the benefit of this talent at all. If it did, it would hit even harder. Like these other attacks actually don't hit that hard, and are kind of crappy, to be honest, compared to the main burst attack. So if you go skirmishing, don't run birds. That's more for, say, like drakes, and you can run dogs with it, and cats. Those are the pets you'd want to run. Dogs, I'd actually probably run 10 in marksmanship, just because Malicious Training is actually really, really good for them, because they cripple, and it's dogs and the spiders, for example, are CC pets, and this just makes their CC all that better, like their cripples and everything. It won't increase their knockdown, but it'll increase things like mobilize and fear that they have, and their shouts and chills. So, and I think, yeah, it'd probably increase the little bit root that the spiders do. So if you're running dogs or cats, you should consider running this 10 points in marksmanship instead. You can also do Nature's Magic. This is more for like the birds. This will give you rejuvenation, which is 75%. It's I think it's 7 or 8 seconds of regeneration when you hit 75% life, and I think it's got like a 30-second cooldown. This is a really good ability. Depending on what you're doing as a healing skill, if you're running, say, Healing Spring, Nature's Bounty's the better pick, because it will increase the regeneration of your actual Healing Spring, which is good. And then you run it with like Vigorous Renewal like before, and that's just 2 talents that improve your main heal, which is really good. If you're running Tro's Ungut, I guess is how you say it, I would stick with Nature's Protection, because it's 5 seconds of protection when you take greater than 10% of your maximum life in a single strike. Just think of all the times you've been hit by, like, say, mug from like steel on a thief, and like the follow up will get basically reduced by like 33% from protection, because they'll set this off. That's very, very nice to have, and very, very good for the opening burst of fights. Yeah, we'll run birds with this. Beast Mastery. Zephyr Speed used to be really, really good. It's now not as nearly as great. I mean, it's kind of mediocre, because you could stomp really fast, so you could switch your pet and stomp. Now you won't even notice it half the time. It's just awful. So it's not really a pick that's, most of the time you used to pick it, like I said before, if you went power or condition. Now it's just, I wouldn't bother any if I went power build. I run Compassion Training a lot of times for my number 10 talent in Beast Mastery line, because it improves natural healing that you'll see up here by like 30 points, and like every 3 seconds you get like an extra 30 points on the heal. You can run other talents. I mean, Master's Bond's more for PvE. Shout Mastery, if Sikkim was better, this would actually be a really good talent. But Sikkim's kind of crappy. I'll discuss that a little bit later. Commanding Voice, this is actually really good for a lot of abilities, so that's actually a good pick as well. Loud Whistle, this is helpful. This used to be a lot powerful as well. When they nerfed like our pet swaps on abilities resetting on pet swaps, this lost a little bit of its benefit, but it's still really good to have. I mean, every 16 seconds you could swap a pet. We used to be able to do it and just like it'd reset the abilities, like say Wolf, like you'd, instead of 45 seconds on like the Fear, you'd only have to wait 16 seconds. But they ended up nerfing that, which really, really kind of sucked, but what can you do? The 20-point talent, this depends on what pet you have. If you have birds, you run Vigorous Training for the Vigor. If you can use Intimidation Training if you have the canines and spiders for the cripple, and then use like the Malicious Training. This will help that, because if you run like say spiders for example, and you do I think it's this one, Deadly Venom. Yeah, Deadly Venom, your next 3 attacks poison your foe. This counts as 3 attacks. This makes each one of those attacks will set this off as an extra, like it's like 3 cripples going off. So with Malicious Training, it's almost 16 seconds of cripple just from that one F2 on F6 on your spider. So that's really good, and you can actually stack it with like other spider, which is generally what you would do, is you'd run that and say the weakening one. Well, his thing now cripples as well for the next 2 attacks, and you just send them back and forth. But that's actually goes hand to hand with that. Rending attacks is more for cats than drakes. Drakes don't crit a whole lot. I mean, you will hardly ever see them crit. I mean, they really require like Master Spawn stacks to really be able to have enough precision to do anything. But cats will just crit all the time and set up a lot of bleeds. So this makes it really good with Expertise Training. Like those two kind of just stack with one another. And then you have like Pet Prowess. These are like 3 talents that just go really well with one another on cats. Nature's Wrath. That's pretty good. I mean, it's a little extra power. I mean, power's not a big deal for us. This is more for a cleric's build. Natural Healing. This is actually one of our better tactics. I mean, it's an extra. You have Compassion Training. It's I want to say it's 188 heal every 3 seconds for you, and like they get a heal like I want to say it's like 100 something on them like every second. So it's really, really good. It goes really well with our healing build. I don't run Instinctual Bond. I think it's just an awful talent, because if I get down, I'm probably getting Zerg most of the time. And if I lost the 1v1, whatever. Okay, that's it for traits. Let me see what else we got. Okay, I'm going to talk about weapons. Currently, I use Axe Torch with a Sword Dagger. Some people opt for Short Bow in their build, and even some people will opt for like Greatsword, which I don't really like. Or you can do, say, axe with dagger and then sword with torch. It's just really up to your play style. I prefer having like my range weapons as like mid-range fighting weapons essentially. Um, Plus, it's got a really good combo. I'll go over the combo a little bit later. But those are generally the weapons that you will use as being bunker build. Axe has a 5-stack bleed that you can apply that's got a low cooldown. You got to be PvAE on it though, so that tends to work really well when you want to move in because it is a close range type build. Winter's Bite will apply chill, and it'll give your pet a little buff here like exposed weakness, which is it's not really what that is, like the extra damage. What it does is it makes your pet apply weakness on its next attack, and it's got a longer cooldown than it actually does of the actual ability, so you can just chain apply weakness, which weakness will make every like non-crit do less damage and reduce their dodge capability, which is really useful. Throw torch, this is actually one of our highest damage abilities that we have. If you stack a bunch of condition damage with condition duration, like if I go like Rare Veggie Pizza right now, this will go over 6,000 damage easily for like 9 seconds with the setup that I'm running. So that's actually a lot for a 12-second cooldown ability. Bonfire is a combo field, fire field. It's very, very nice. Generally, if you're fighting, say, like dagger, pistol thieves, you would throw this down and force them to come into it. If like when they go to stealth, just sit in the middle of it, and they can either come in or waste their stealth, and just keep doing it over and over again, and then it'll apply burning. It's very good for drakes because it'll set off like combo fields for like might and such, which, you know, extra might isn't too bad, but it's not amazing. You can actually throw this down and then like charge out of it with, say, Monarch Sleep and charge back into it, and it'll give you fire shield. So that goes really well if you do like sword torch, but you can do it with axe torch as well. You just gotta do it really fast. On sword auto attack, I turn off, because if you ever actually use sword auto attack, this will get you killed a lot. So turn it off and only use it when people are trying to run from you, because like once you get on them, it's really hard to get away for that person, because you apply a cripple and like you make your pet strong with the might, but you kind of leap towards your target. It's got a 430 range pounce, which is really nice. So it's really good for staying on people. Monarch's Leap is just amazing. Like, it's an evade, and then like, let me come up here and do it because I don't want to fly off a cliff. You can evade out and then come back in, or you can turn around here, and I'll do it in a second. Like this, and then go like that. This will let you cover more ground. It's just think of it like a leap, similar to Greatsword, but it will say you need a couple more seconds for your heal to pop up. That's a good way to get out of range of the fight and leap away, then pop your heal, then come right back in. Serpent Strike. This is evade. It's an amazing evade. It'll imply a poison, and it falls really well into Stalker Strike. So generally you do Serpent Strike followed by Stalker Strike, and it's almost 20 seconds of poison, which is really amazing. It's 2 seconds of evade total when you do that combo, and it's got a very, very short cooldown. Crippling Talon is a 3-stack bleed with a cripple, and it's got good range. It's got a low cooldown. Very, very good ability, and it works with the combo I was talking about, that I will be talking about. On short bow, it's really up to you. I mean, I didn't like short bow just because it doesn't do a whole lot of damage with the setup that I run, like of apothecary gear, but it's not bad. You can get away with it. Okay, on heal skills, like I said earlier, this is up to you. Like, you can use Healing Spring or Trolls Urgent. Heals 1's not bad. It's, as you can see, it almost heals for 8,000, and it's got a 20-second cooldown. That's very good. The problem is it's got a 1 1/4 cast time, and it will get interrupted all the time. You might not think that extra quarter is a big deal, but For some reason, I guess Ugent is I can get it off and dodge at the same time. It feels like so it actually is really nice. Like Hills 1, I get interrupted all the time on it. It's just this is a big pain. Healing Spring has the lowest actual cast time, but it actually heals. It heals more than Chozo Ugent, but you got to stay in the water field, which can be hard if someone's like AEing on top of it. I mean, Healing Spring can be really good. It also cures conditions. So if you're running in a group, you'd want to run this. If you're running like SPVP, Healing Spring, use that. Period. It's just better in SPVP. It's absolutely just amazing. It just really depends on how you want to do your build and such. I tend to like this one because I can pop it like at the start of the fight, and then like by the time it's done, it only likes 15 seconds before I can pop it again. It just makes it really hard to bring me down. Utility wise, I run Signet of the Hunt. The good thing about Signet of the Hunt is you can pop it pre-fight and it'll say buff your pet for 16 minutes, so its first attack will do more damage, and it's got a short cooldown of 30 seconds, so you can pre-cast it. I mean, it also is a 25% run speed buff for you and your pet, and that's just amazing to have. Like, you can get around faster, you can get leave fights faster. You're really gonna run this with talent. I used to not run it when it was 10%, but when they buffed it up to 25%, I was kind of forced into using it. I used to run like Sin of the Wild with Pain Inverter, then like Lightning Reflexes, and now I run Sin of the Hunt. Sin of the Wild is staple for the BM Bunker builds. You're gonna have it. It's because you're gonna be using healing power. This heals for about 140, it says, so it's about 143 really, and that's not bad. It's a tick, and it heals your pet for like 400 if you have healing power every second. So it makes your pet a lot more beefy when you have healing power. You don't generally activate this ability. Like if you run like a Signet build with power and use like Maul, Greatsword, or whatever. That's when you would use Signet of the Wild as an actual active ability, but I don't. Your last ability, I used to, as you know, run Pain Inverter, which was an amazing ability for this spec. I actually built the BM Bunker spec. I'm pretty sure I am the first person to actually run BM Bunker. I made a lot of posts about it, and I discussed it back then. I was the first. I brought up Apothecary. I have a post on that where I brought that up, and people were like, I was like, I think this would be actually an amazing set for Rangers, and people were like, no, that set would suck. Healing Powers is terrible. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure, this is going to be amazing for a Ranger. Like, we can heal a lot and everything. But, I actually built the BM Bunker build around this ability because they had nerfed short bow with quickness back then. And I was like, I'm going to try to start doing melee, and I'm going to build an entire spec around Pain Inverter. And so I built a spec around Pain Inverter, which was, this spec that I have right now. And then they added Apothecary. I was running this for maybe like a month, and they added Apothecary, and I was like, oh well, Apothecary is going to be amazing for this, and it was. But yeah, Pain Inverter is nerfed now, so I don't really use it anymore. You can use Signet of the Stone now. Signet of the Stone used to be awful. No one you really use it because it would only give, I think it's like 40 or 60 toughness, and now it gives 180 for you and your pet, so it's actually a really, really good ability to pick from. Lightning Reflexes, this is also a very, very good ability. It's just up to you what you want to run on that. If you're in a SPVP, running a tournament, you'd want to do something like Signet of the Renewal, because you can use it to help your group fight. With this plus, this is a lot of condition removal that you can apply to your groups when you're in fights and such, so that's very, very good to have. I don't run Sharpening Stone because I tend to screw it up whenever I use it. I'll do Split Blade after using it. It'll just use the whole thing. Sikkim, I don't like Sikkim because I used birds a lot, and the only pet that really gets a benefit from it is probably the Jaguar. And it's really a pain in the butt to use because what it'll do is if you use it and then use another ability from the pet, it'll go away. So if I did like this, like Sikkim, and then I followed it up with, say, Weakening Venom, it would actually just remove this ability, making it completely useless. Plus, your pet, you're not guaranteed your pet will actually hit anyone, so I've considered it kind of a wasted utility. It would need to like root the target or something and not go away like when I use an F2 for me to consider it. You can also use muddy terrain. It's just really up to you on that. Some people use Frost Trap for the damage reduction armor when you charge through it. Elites, I run Entangle, but all three of the elites are pretty good. Rampage's one is better for cleric builds, but you can get away with... You could probably run it as Apothecary. I think I actually did run it as Apothecary a lot, just for the stability. But Entangle, after they increased the damage on it, I started just using it more, because it's really good for like bursting down groups of people, or just screwing over groups of people. Because if you get caught by like this Entangle, like on the side of it, you can't move. Like you can't even like hit it. You're like stunned, kind of. It's like a bug or something. Like it's killed me many of times, and it's like some rangers like randomly hit me with it. And if like I'm in the middle of it, I can get out of it. But if I'm like stuck on the side, it like I'm just like screwed. It's just awful. Like I'll die. There's like no way to get out of it. You can use your pet to sometimes like have it attack, and it'll kill like the actual vines. But yeah, if you get stuck there, you're screwed. Okay, I'm gonna discuss armor now. Armor and weapons, it's like sigils and superior runes and whatnot. Apothecary is really great just because it has toughness, healing power, and condition on it, which, as you know, really fits well with Beast Mastery and Wilderness Survival. So that's just like a really good armor set for us. You can also run, instead of like the actual armor of like Apothecary, you can run Renyas, which is vitality, healing power, and condition damage, because you'll be low on HP because you won't have any HP. You have like it says I have like 1500 right here, which is not a lot. If you run like Nature's, it's like almost 1700. But with skirmishing, you know, it's not very high. So it just really depends if what you want to afford. Renyas is cheaper than actual Apothecary gear itself. On this particular set that I'm running, it's Superior Rune of the Nightmare. I liked it because it gave me 10% condition duration back in the day. Well, it still does, but I would run Rare Veggie Pizza, which was 40%, so it's stacked to 50%. And generally, when you're doing like a condition duration, you want even numbers on your abilities, like your conditions, and the 50% would give me a lot of even numbers. Like this would be like 9 seconds. This would be 9 seconds. This is like 4.5 or something like that. It's not a big deal. This was like 12, I think it is, and this was an even number. I can't remember what it was, and this was like 12 seconds as well. It was just a bunch of even numbers, which meant that they were going to get the full tick of the ability. Because if you did like this Rare Veggie Pizza, this would be like 8.5 seconds. So that would be a half a second that I'm not getting on tick. I'm just wasting anything past, I think it'd be like 25% condition duration on the Rare Veggie Pizza. So you're really only getting that much benefit of it, unless you go to like the extra 10%. You could run something like Superior Rune of the Forge. Like I think it's 4 that you get the protection buff, but I'm not completely certain on that. But Superior Rune of the Forge is really nice because it gives it an ability when you hit like 50% life. It's 10 seconds of protection, so that's really good to have. And it also has, I think the number 2 ability is 15% burn duration. So you could run it in Rare Veggie Pizza and still get the the extra second on your torch though, which was a big deal because that's an extra more damage. But yeah, Superior Rune of the Forge is a really good rune. You can run a Superior Rune of Melindrew. That's also a really good rune, just because it lowers condition duration. I'll kind of go over that in a second though. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Renyas, I actually started running this a while back. I want to say probably early this year, maybe, before everyone started doing it, because pistol dagger thieves were really common out in World vs. World. Like you just saw like a lot of them, and this really helps versus that build. Like I would run a lot of people run I think it's lemongrass. Let me see here. Don't even have any on me. Okay, I don't think I have any on me. Yeah, lemongrass, I believe is what it is. It lowers, it stacks with this. It's like 65% duration reduction, which is really, really good, because like a lot of those thieves will stack, it bleeds on you or whatever, and this would cut down on their condition duration a lot and lower the amount of damage that they did. And that was one of the reasons I started running it. I actually stopped running lemongrass and started running loaves of saffron bread because incoming damage was reduced by 20% while stunned, knocked down, or knocked back. You get slightly less condition duration reduction, but I mean 20% less damage. Like Balak's Venom actually becomes a 20% nerf for the damage on a thief, if you think about it. I mean, that's what it's really just for stun, but they follow it up with burst, and if they're taking 20%, they're doing 20% more or less damage to you if you start running this. So that actually helps a lot against burst thieves. But generally when you run like say Renyas, you're not getting the toughness anymore. So you would want to run like a toughness rune, since you no longer have it on your actual armor. So like Milandru or Superior Rune of the Forge is actually a toughness rune. There's probably other ones like Doliak that would work as well, I bet. But I kind of run this one now over the Apothecary main gear, just because this is kind of my offensive set and this is kind of my defensive set. The reason I do that is when I ran Pain Inverter, I liked a lot of offense, but I've lost a lot of damage from Pain Inverter being nerfed in PvP that I can't really make up for it anymore. So this is actually kind of weaker than the defensive top set that I run now. So I would run Renyas, to be honest, because it's actually pretty good when you start running the different types of food that I run. Like I run mango pies now, and this is almost 20k HP with this setup, and that's pretty good. I mean, when the buffs start going up, and like, I'll get maximum robust right now. See, it's just started, so it'll go over 20k fairly quickly, and 20k health, with like 2,000 something toughness is amazing, especially when you can apply a lot of conditions and everything. And this is 80 something to like 90 health per second. It just depends on what the world versus world buff is sitting at. Medic, so it's only 1% increase right now. It'll go up it'll increase it to like, I think, by like 10 points by the end probably. So it's very, very nice to have. Sigils, if you're doing like any type of condition build as Apothecary and such, always run Sigil of Geomancy on both your weapons. It's a 3-stack bleed, PvAE. You swap when you're near someone, and you apply a PvAE bleed just over and over again every time you weapon swap, and you're going to be weapon swapping a lot. So that's just standard for the build. Like, I originally chose it just because it was cheap, and I liked it so much I decided to keep it because it was much better than everything else. So I recommend that one. You could probably get away from the leeching one, I don't know, or the one that does the chill when you weapon swap, but I still think the bleed is much better because it works so well with the combo that I'm going to show you guys. Your secondary, I run Corruption. There's really no other choice that you can really do, in my opinion, so that works pretty well. As you can see, I actually decided to buy Ascended finally. I had like 100 something laurels, and I finally got around to buying them. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go over some of the pets here. Spiders are really good, like just for like a range pet. A lot of people would say, well, why don't you run Devours? Devours don't do a whole lot of damage. They really don't. The only good one is the one that does Rending Barbs. This right here does a lot of damage on a like channeled, but it's not really worth having. If I was going to run a range pet, I was just going to run spiders, because spiders have a lot of CC, and that's really why you run them. It works well with like the malicious training and everything. Wolves are also, like the dogs, of course, are really good. This is really good with Signet of Hunt because you'll pop that, and then just like the first thing they do, and it actually hits really, really hard. Like it'll probably do about 3k damage if it crits, so that's not really bad. As you see, Crippling Leap is 5-second cripple or whatever, and you start stacking those cripples up. I mean, that's really, really good. The Fear, this will, I don't know if it'd go to 3 seconds or not. I don't think it would, but it's still pretty good to have. Birds, of course, the Raven. Raven is just absolutely amazing. Like, it will hit so hard. This right here will do about 6k damage easily. And it's also a blind, so blinds are just amazing as well because that's just damage you're not taking. So that's really, really good. It'll give you swiftness also. So birds are really good for the build. Um, Drakes are really good. They used to be pretty terrible because this right here would have, like, I think it's 2.5 second cast time, and you would never go off. Like, it's impossible to go off beforehand. Now it's got a 1.5 second cooldown, so it's really, really easy to get off now. Um, and of course, cats are also very, 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 very nice. You can do very well with cats. Like, they apply a lot of damage. They're very, very, they hit very, very hard as well. Like, the actual hits are just excellent burst. Pigs would actually be probably one of our best pets in the game. It actually probably would be our best pet if they work more like thieves still. See, right now I have to do this, and I'd actually have to go pick this up. And see, that's a really, really good throw ability, but yeah, it's a pain in the butt to run over and grab something like that. If it worked like Thief still, like I said, it would easily be like our best utility pet, and hopefully ArenaNet will get around to doing that one day. Till then, they're just not used for that reason. You won't use bears. Bears are awful. Like, you could probably get away with using them in PvE because they got a lot of vitality and toughness, but don't use them in PvP. MOAs, probably more for cleric-based ones than anything. Alright, I'm going to just discuss the combo finally. The combo is Axe Torch with a Sword Dagger. It works really well together for like a combo that you can do, because what it is we can apply conditions really, really quickly with this combo. Generally, if it's a Guardian, just to note, always start with Ricochet so you'll bring down their Aegis. Otherwise, either do Winter Spot or Throw Torch. It's up to you on that. Follow up with after these two with a Bonfire, followed by Split Blade. Weapon swap while you're on top of the target. Crippling Talon, then do Serpent Strike, and then do Stalker Strike. You can follow it up with, what you'll probably do is you'll probably leave the fight, to be honest, with like Monarch's Leap if you can, or to stay on with like Pounce. And then I think it comes out to like 6 seconds, so you gotta wait like a few more seconds, then you can weapon swap, which will set off your bleed again. So that'll be 11 stack bleed between Split Blade, weapon swap, and then Crippling Talon, and you can do it every 10 seconds. So it's really amazing, and I'm going to demonstrate it here so you guys can see. As you can see, I was able to put out a lot of damage very, very quickly, a lot of conditions very, very quickly. And this works really well with, say, like the pets, for example, because this is what makes the BM Bunker build so strong, is having these separate stats. See, the Jaguar has 1600 power, 2300 precision. That's a lot of damage stats right there. So you can send them in, and he's hitting for 2,000, 3,000 damage every now and then. That's very, very good for a condition-based build, just having our pets like that. Oh, good, you powerful blood. That's the main strength of BM Bunker, is you not only have condition damage, you have good heals, but you also have really good burst. We have a lot of utility between Healing Spring, Sign of the Renewal, and say Entangle or Spirit of Nature, so it just adds up to really, really good spec to have in either SPVP or World vs. World. For example, if you do World vs. World, you're able to kill supply camps incredibly quickly. Just run in and tangle on top of, like, you drag the mobs. If you watch my videos on Twitter, not Twitter, Twitch TV, um, I have like 2 up right now. A lot of it's me getting zerged, but most of the time I'm running around taking supply camps, and you'll see me, I'll pull like all the mobs over a corner, and then like I'll entangle them, and then bonfire, and then split blade while my Drake pet is lightning breath on top of them, and I'll kill them really quickly, and then take the camp. And it's very, very easy to do that as a ranger. It's kind of hard to do it on a thief. I mean, you got to run really conditioned build on a thief to be able to do it, because and it's weaker now because you don't have uh, the little bleed trap thing that they have. Caltrops. It used to be much more powerful than it is now. So they can't do it as nearly as easily as they could. Just like we can't either with like Pain Inverter. Pain Inverter used to make it really easy to like take a supply camp, which, you know, no longer, I don't use that ability anymore. Anyway, if you have any questions, leave them in this thread, or you can catch me on Twitter at Xorvos, not Twitter, Twitch TV at Xorvos. I'll leave it in the link here. You can message me on YouTube, or you can get ask me any questions on the Guild Wars 2 forums. Anyway, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this guide.